Now you can turn the fan on.
All right, we've hit 6 o'clock. Look like everyone is here. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the special council meeting of the City Council of the City of North Kansas City, April 26, 2021, 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Saper.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Toll.
Here.
Councilmember Clevenger.
Here.
Councilmember Roberts.
Here.
Councilmember Palumbi is absent. Councilmember Clark.
Yes. Here.
And Councilmember Graves.
Here.
Thank you. Number 3, Eric, you want to go ahead on this?
Yes, sir. So Clay County announced on Friday afternoon that they have issued an 11th, that they have issued an amended order, a health order. The highlights of it are that they are no longer requiring masks outdoor when social distancing can't be maintained. They're only recommending it. Social distancing indoors is no longer required under their order, only strongly recommended. And they're in the whereas clauses for their order, they do outline points for moving towards what they call their green phase, which is to be the total removal of the order, including the requirement of wearing face masks. So given that Clay County has changed its order up until Friday afternoon, North Kansas City's order and Clay County's order were exactly the same. And so we wanted to determine if council wanted to take any actions as a result of Clay County having amended its order. And so that's what's before you tonight.
Thank you. Just real quick, I'll say, many of you remember at one point we amended this so the mayor couldn't loosen restrictions. So part of when this happened, that's the reason I decided to call this so quick. It's just there's nothing I could do by myself anyways if we did want to loosen them. So that's why we're here in the special session. Also note, Councilmember Palumbi is not here tonight, but she let us know beforehand. So just throwing that out there. Anyone have anything to add here? Councilmember Toll.
Eric, you said no longer requiring masks inside, but I thought that masks were still required inside unless eating or drinking.
Mm-hmm. So I'll read what they have as their community health guidance. And I may have gotten that wrong in my prologue, ma'am. Masking required when in. So what I was saying was that I think what they're looking at when they get to their green phase. So their order would expire on May 28th, according to this. At that point, masking would no longer be required. But at this point, as of April 23rd, masking is still required when indoors. Masks are recommended when outdoors and unable to maintain social distance.
So on that, though, they could, from my understanding, potentially still extend the order. That's just now their end date.
They could potentially extend the order. We did ask them today if the metrics that you've indicated to for the green phase, which is when they're hoping to simply repeal the order. If they are not met, what is your intention? And according to the staff, they anticipate that as of May 28th, unless there is some substantial change in the metrics here for the area, they do anticipate that they will completely repeal their emergency health order.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything to add? Councilmember Smith.
So I was looking at what they've got. I was trying to pull it up on my screen here. Starting April 23rd, percent of eligible residents vaccinated, and they've got 35% as their metric, and then 50% to go to green phase. As of today, we're somewhere around, Bryant, correct me if I'm wrong, 21%. And in the non-Kansas City, Missouri portion, it's like under 14, which is mind-boggling. So I'm curious why they've chosen to go to yellow not at 35 and then pushing toward green, which would be 50%, when it doesn't look like we're ever getting there. But I would still support moving this direction. I'm just curious why those are set guidelines that aren't really holding to.
Councilmember Saber then Graves.
We're not doing this in a vacuum with Kansas City and their new order. If anything, seems a little less stringent than Clay County, not much, marginally. I tend to agree with Jesse. I think it maybe is a little premature, but I don't see how we can fight these headwinds from both Kansas City and Clay County.
Councilmember Graves.
There's some fine print that I think you guys might be overlooking on this chart that Clay County sent us titled The Road to Recovery, where it has the red, orange, yellow, green, and it has these 3 stipulations that they're trying to meet in order to move to the next level. Right above that, it says to move to the next phase, at least 2 of the 3 conditions must be met. And so it's my understanding that if we meet 2 of the 3 conditions, then we advance to the next phase. So that might be why you're confused that the eligible residents vaccinated is below that threshold. We might be meeting the hospital capacity standards and the new cases per 100,000 over 7 days standards. And then furthermore, I just want to point out that as a resident of North Kansas City, I'm well aware that removing the mask requirement for outdoor activities would be very important for North Kansas City, for a lot of our businesses here that have outdoor facilities and bring people here to North Kansas City, not only for, entertainment, but also at Mackin Park, Dag Park, there are different park facilities we have. Masks would still be recommended, but not required. So I'm actually really happy that we're moving to phase yellow, and I think that's a great thing, and it's good for North Kansas City.
Thank you, Councilmember Clevenger, then Roberts.
Just a couple of things. Certainly, it's nice to see progress in as far as the vaccinations. I think, an agreement also with the council members to follow Clay County at this time doesn't mean like if we get to a point where down the road, if we don't feel comfortable, but they remove the mask mandate, that we can always revisit this. But, certainly we've got to look at the numbers and have a balance of, certainly we want to make sure that our businesses are coming out of this and on a level playing ground with other businesses in neighboring cities. But we also want to be mindful of public health. So most of everything else has been said. Thanks.
Councilmember Roberts.
So I am in agreement that we should be following. I think looking at the Kansas City order, it looks a little bit more detailed, and I think that's how it's been every time in terms of specifically, I guess, bars and restaurants, and then large group gatherings. It kind of dictates things a little bit more clearly than I think Clay County's does. As far as like outside areas, there's a lot of businesses in North Kansas City that I've been to that are not being mandated. There's signs up, but nobody besides me are wearing masks. So I don't think that this ordinance has really been that enforced here. So I don't know how big of a change it's going to really make. Our caseloads have been very low. I think we had 160 the entire month up to date in Clay County. So I think it makes sense to follow this. I do think that Kansas City's guidelines make more sense if we're going to actually do any enforcing, which it doesn't seem like we have at this point. So if we're not going to do any enforcing, we might as well adopt the Clay County, I think, measurement at this point, and then hope that things get better. And the 28th, we go into the green phase, I guess, if vaccinations go up.
Thank you. I'll jump in real quick, then I'll call on Councilmember Smith. I think what I would ask for at this point, if you guys decide to, you could decide to just drop our order totally, our emergency order, and put us under Clay County's. And what I would commit to is certainly, if things are changing here, re-implementing our order. I know I've worked with many of you over this time period, taking this very seriously. If things were to change, I would not have a problem re-implementing an order. But what I think I would ask for now is to consider, dropping this order and following Clay County for the moment. But Councilmember Smith.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to pitch. Drop our order entirely and defer to Clay County, because really we don't need it if we're just going to copy what they've got.
And I would add that would probably save us a lot more Monday meetings. So
can we move to drop our order and adopt Clay County?
we have a
Second.
we have a motion and a second to let our order expire, I guess would be what I heard. Is that a sufficient?
Is there an expiration date?
Yeah, when does our order expire?
Yeah, I don't have it up off here.
But we can just repeal it regardless, right?
Yeah, I if this is Eric Berlin, I would recommend maybe a motion to repeal the order. And
I move to repeal our health order. Or Jesse, you had something?
Just want to make sure that it was effective at the same time Clay County's new one goes into effect. So we would repeal it simultaneous with theirs going into effect. So there's not like a missed.
theirs went into effect on Friday the 23rd.
Okay, so
Yeah.
About 4 hours after you let us everyone know.
Yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor to repeal
Second.
and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yep.
was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Councilmember Tull,
Yes.
Councilmember Clevenger,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
and Councilmember Graves.
Yes.
7-0, motion carried.
Seeing no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Tull,
Yes.
Councilmember Clevenger,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
and Councilmember Graves.
Yes.
7-0, motion carried.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Okay, good night, everybody.